Hey, we are recording. Hello.
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 Good day.
Hello, guys. We have a guest with us today on the VerftetPOD. We have Thaddeus.
Thaddeus, yeah.
Thaddeus with us today. And we're going to get to know you a little bit. So that's going to be the plan for the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm fine today. We traveled in yesterday, so we had one sleep here in Norway in a hotel. I mean, what do you do on the first day? You go to the box and train, right? So that's my history in Norway for now.
So your history in Norway is training, and how was traveling with your family and baggages and
Yeah, traveling was okay. We traveled here with the whole family. So I have a girlfriend or wife. We're not married. I always call her my wife, but we're not married yet. I have a girlfriend and 3 kids, a 2-year-old boy, a 6 and a 7-year-old girl. So we had quite some bags and car seats and a stroller to push. So obviously at the airport, it takes some time to check it all in, get it in. But we managed. All our stuff got here, so it's good now.
So it wasn't walk in the park. I heard rumors about running in the airport.
Yeah, we checked into Amsterdam airport on time, but it was quite busy. So we were the last people on the first plane, but we made it. That was okay.
Yes.
And then we had a flight to Bergen. From there, we had another one here. And then there's 2 engines on the small plane. One of them didn't work, so we had to get into a new plane.
But you were not in the air when it didn't work.
No, we were on the ground. Yeah.
Because I tried that in the air.
Yeah? Wow.
So we're not going to talk about that today, but okay. Yeah. So you have to go in and out, and then you end up in Haugesund.
Yeah, we got a very nice pickup at the airport, and then transferred to the hotel. We had some food at Aegon yesterday, so I had my cheat meal for the week, and then we're now trying to pick up a new rhythm. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Since we talked a little bit about your family, and that's really unusual stuff that you guys have done. That especially Norwegian. I don't know what you do, where you're from, but Norwegian families don't take their kids and travel around the world. How did you end up doing that? If you take
So before we had kids, Annette, my girlfriend, and I both traveled quite extensively. We've seen some places, been some places. I actually been in Bergen before. I studied there for the last semester of my education to become a physiotherapist. That was back in 2009, I think. Like I said, we've seen some places. Then we had some kids, and in 2017, we together we decided that we wanted to see something else and wanted to show our kids something else. So I sold my business at the time. We sold our house. Annette got a year of unpaid leave. She's a teacher at the international school, so she's always very internationally minded. And back then we had 2 girls. So Pippa was 2 at the time, and Jules was 3.5. We packed our bags and we flew to South Africa. We hung around there for a year. So it was South Africa and then Namibia and Botswana. And then from there we flew to Argentina and spent another small year there. So in Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, Chile, like the south part of South America. And then
how did that go with two kids?
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. They were so young that they adapted so quickly to whatever we threw at them. So there's a big lesson there. We were their safety net. So as long as mommy and daddy were there, it was good.
So amazing.
It's different than being at home and having like grandparents or somebody that can come in and babysit. But we were together 24/7 for almost 2 years in a new and challenging environment. You know, obviously speaking English in South Africa or speaking Spanish in South America, Portuguese even. And I knew I had 2 kids that were doing okay. They were smart. I mean, every father thinks their girls are smart.
Yeah, of course, they're unique.
They pick up. if you put them on a playground somewhere in Uruguay, and they have to speak Spanish to 2 other 2 or 4-year-olds, who's going to go on the slide first if we're going to go up the slide or down the slide, and who's going to go on the teeter-totter, they figure it out way quicker than we do. So there's a big lesson there that adaptability, being able to adapt, is something that opens up a lot of opportunities for you. And what I remember vividly from the southern part of Africa is obviously there's a history of apartheid in South Africa. They didn't know about it, and that's for the better.
Yeah.
They seriously wondered what's going on with people of different race or color or religion or sexual preference, why they are being treated so differently, and that it was unfair. And there's a lesson there, I think. If kids don't finish their plate of food because they saw somebody in a parking lot that hasn't had food for days, he said, no, I want to share with them. Can I get a doggy bag and then bring it to him? My fatherly instinct would say, no, finish your plate because it's your food, and don't go talk to a homeless person because they might be scary or want to do something to you. But apparently, if you're 2-year-old and blonde and white in South Africa, if you walk up with half a burger and a bunch of fries to some homeless person, they're very thankful, and that's it. So yeah, cool. There was a big lesson there in those 2 years that, fortunately, the vast majority of people on this planet are still very friendly and helpful. Yeah. And yes, bad things happen. You got to be aware of it or prepare for it.
Any bad things? You have a story of
nothing.
No, nothing. It's pretty cool.
Pippa is kind of a Tasmanian devil. So we were in Argentina, and she dove into a jacuzzi, but obviously there's like a bench where you can sit on. So she hit it with the hat, and we had to go to the hospital. That's the worst thing that happened. So they gave her a bit of glue. Yeah. We were out in 25 minutes. Didn't pay a dime. Even though we had like international insurance and stuff like that. They took us with an ambulance to the hospital, brought us back to the hospital. They gave her cookies and stitches, and it's fine. The worst thing was she couldn't swim for a week. Yeah. That was her major issue. But no, nothing happened.
Not so bad.
No strange stories. No accidents, no freak stories, no unsafe feelings, nothing. No.
And fitness, what did you do any like CrossFit? Did you do any coaching? Did you work?
Fitness-wise, that wasn't my best year or the best years. No. So we, as I told you, we went to Cape Town first, and we rented out an apartment for a month just to wind down and get used to the country. So I joined Cape CrossFit there and trained like 5 days a week, 6 days a week. That was a good month. Yeah. But after that, we got a Jeep with a rooftop tent. And what we did was usually 2 or 3 days of camping and then going back to a city to stock up on supplies. And you're here and there and everywhere, and there's no one to watch the kids. So that would mean if I would take an hour out of my day or an hour and a half out of my day to go train, and that would be with the kids, and that would be at home. So we didn't have our own car for the whole period. So that kind of limits what you can do. So you do some bodyweight stuff, you go for a run, but when you're in a new place, so there's a big lesson for what's going to happen here as well. When you're in a new place, you get an opportunity to build your new rhythm or your habits or the things you do often. And training was not that big of a part of those 2 years as it was at home. No. You don't have to go to work. You don't have to wake up at a certain time. You have to eat when you're hungry. That's it. So what we did usually was wake up, read or play, have breakfast, read or play, go to a playground some more, have lunch, read or play, or have dinner, and then go. I did get very good at, in South Africa they call it a braai, grill, grilling, drinking wine. That was my,
We're good at that. Good at it, yeah. That's good. And but you didn't do any work when you traveled for 2 years?
No. I sold my business and we sold the house. Annette had a year of unpaid leave, so we had like a little treasury that we could take chunks of, and we didn't have to work. That's a privilege as well. Yes. So we got a lot of quality time, and I did some classes at Cape CrossFit, or if we were in a place for a longer period of time, I usually dropped into a box and then do like a seminar style thing about something I happen to know something about, or do a guest coach for 1 hour, but nothing on a structural base.
No, nothing. No. Okay, and so you travel for 2 years, yeah? Yeah. Roughly. And then how long were you at home then before this happened?
So we got back in 2019. That was March, I think. Yeah. So it's now July 2021. That's 2 years.
2 years. So 2 years
Yeah.
basis. We're moving along.
No, no, I'm lying. 2.5, 3 maybe. Something mixed up. But
But why Norway? What happened? Well, how did that?
yeah.
Did you
so,
sit in the couch and just like, okay, let's go to Norway? Like,
yeah. So one YouTube video I was sold.
Yeah, tell
No,
us,
no,
tell
no.
us tell us the story. How
So what
how
happened
did that,
is,
how did you start getting Annette towards the feeling? Because it was
Yeah.
you that made the idea, or was it her?
I'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
So Annette's a teacher. She used to teach at the International School of Amsterdam. And she was a Dutch teacher, and they were in a team of 6 teachers. So that's a pretty small team to be in for like 10 or 11 years, which she had. So she was kind of getting ready for a new challenge, maybe a new place or a new role to work in. So she already had her eye on different opportunities to work. So we actually got pretty close to moving to South Africa, but due to the COVID situation, that was quite difficult. There's also the process of getting a visa and a work permit. We had another opportunity in Argentina, which we got close to, but we canceled that on our own terms. And then obviously because I studied in Norway before, I had good experience here. The culture is quite similar. Obviously the scenery and the landscape is way better. The climate is kind of similar. We don't have very hot summers or very cold winters where we're from. So that was easy. The English language was a prerequisite for me. I speak Dutch, I speak English, bit of German, bit of Spanish, but I'm not fluent enough in those languages to coach or do my work. I'm not fluent in Norwegian yet either, but we can learn always.
Yeah.
So Annette actually got close to a job in Oslo, and then something popped up here at the International School in Haugesund. And she got in a chat and a second chat pretty quickly. And she actually signed a contract first. So she's the reason why we're here.
So
we told the kid,
she's to blame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, or to thank. I don't know.
Or to thank.
I'll tell you in a year or two.
Yeah.
So we told the kids and we got ready to move, put up the house for sale. I decided that I had to sell my business. So we started that process. And obviously, when you go into a new place, you start looking around. What's there? So I found the box actually online. So there were some other foreign coaches. And then there was an Instagram post about you having an opening for 2 coaches. So I figured, well, I saw that on a Friday, actually. So I talked to a bunch of my friends, and I was like, yeah, I could send them an email. But my original plan was to just be a dad at home for like half a year and then maybe redo a house or something like that. And then start to see if I would venture into a different career or carry on as a physiotherapist the way I'm trained or get back into coaching, what I did before we went to Africa. So the job opening popped up. I sent you a short email saying, well, this is who I am. This is my LinkedIn profile. If you're interested, let's have a talk. And if not, I'll probably drop by to just train once we're there. And from there on, I think we had 2 or 3 meetings.
Yeah.
And then I found a contract in my email, so yeah, I signed it.
Yeah, it turned out okay.
Yeah.
Because for us also it was very what's it called? We were looking for someone who wanted to with your kind of experience. And we applied and had the same thing. Okay, we have good time for filling this spot. Then your email came in and started talking around, and we had some good chats. But if we look at CrossFit wise, what have you? How did you find the CrossFit? Because you started physiotherapy, and like what was your first day walking into the CrossFit gym?
Yeah, so I started out as a physiotherapist, and the clinic I ran, so that's my first clinic I ran with a business partner, was focused mostly on athletes, everyday athletes, but competitive athletes as well. And there was a guy coming in.
So football players, ice hockey players,
hockey, tennis, swimming, every other sport. And there was a guy coming in telling me about some shoulder issues he had. So I obviously asked him, well, when do you have it? What aggravates it? And he was telling me about a workout. I'm not sure, but I think it had rope climbs and tire slams with a hammer in it. And I'm like, wait, back up a bit. You do rope climbs and tire slams for your sport? Yeah, well, it's this thing called CrossFit. There's a box down the street. Actually, it was one of the 4 original boxes in the Netherlands.
When is this?
This is probably 2012, 2013.
Okay, so it's almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah. And well, either way, we move on to the shoulder because that's why you came. And I told him, well, by the time you're out of pain, I want to join you to your gym. I was calling it a gym back then because I want to see what this training is all about. So I went there once, and the box was about to move to the next town, which was a bit bigger. And then, so by the time they moved to the next town, I signed up. I came in, and it was actually in you call it a sports hall, gymnasium, like a proper hall where there's lining on the floor and rings coming from the ceiling. And
like
you couldn't drop a barbell because you would damage the floor.
Yeah, gymsal is a Norwegian word. Yeah.
Gymsal, yeah. So it was there, and the first workout was deadlifts combined with box jumps, I think. Always a good combo for your shins. Deadlifts and box jumps. And the box just started up, or the original box split up into 2 boxes. So that one was new. And it was with a guy called Zoran. You know the movie Don't Mess with the Zoran?
No, I don't.
All right. It's a Adam Sandler movie. It's funny.
Okay.
But yeah. It was,
I maybe seen it, but I never remember what movies I see.
I don't think it won an Oscar, but it's funny enough. So I was training with the guy for the first time. And then my second workout was Filthy 50.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
okay, for the guys who don't know Filthy 50, do you remember it?
I'm not sure if
we can sum it up it's 50 reps of a shitload of movements.
Yeah, yes. I think it's 7 different movements, 50 reps. So it's pull-ups, wall balls, burpees.
350 reps in total then, around that area.
Yeah.
So it's 50 reps of CrossFit.
Yeah.
So it's the typical thing that people do if they're gonna do if they're gonna do like CrossFit, and you get very sore if you're new and do that.
Yeah, very, 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 very sore. So from that point on, I started coming back for some reason and started training like 2 or 3 times a week. That's about the same time my first daughter was born. And the clinic we were working in back then, we had some collaborations with different sport clubs and teams where we would do like we would go with the teams to matches, or we would do like like an hour at the club where people can come and see you and ask a few questions, or have a little pain and talk to you about it, whether they need treatment or not.
Yeah.
So the CrossFit box became one of the sports clubs we started working with, and it influenced the way I trained people in rehab a lot. Just because there were new movements for me.
Yeah.
I never touched a barbell before in my life. I played some team sports, but none of this.
No.
And I started getting people on like supersets or metcons, or started doing like a block of strength training for somebody who had knee issues, followed by a short metcon in my rehab. So that ended up to us getting some extra space in the clinic, and then getting a rack into it, and free weights and kettlebells and a assault bike and skier and stuff like that. And from there on, it changed quickly. So I wanted to know more, started to do my level 1. Once I got my level 1, the owner
when
of the box,
this? When is level 1?
I think that's still 2013, end of 2013.
So we're at the same year still.
Yeah. It's a lot. Sorry, long story.
Yeah. It's good.
Same year still. Level 1. The owner of the box started asking me to join him in coaching for a few hours. And then 2014, I probably took up, we called it the on-ramp program. So where new members come in, you teach them the 9 foundational movements of CrossFit. So front squat, back squat, overhead squat, med ball clean, deadlift. We added pull-ups to the mix. We did a shoulder press, push, jerk. So that was an hour a week where we got the new people in, 3 lessons for the 9 movements, and then I would coach 1 normal class, and then the rest of the week was just filled with training for myself or working in the clinic. Then from the clinic, I started working in the local hospital as well. So that's the sports outpatient clinic, where people, if you get kicked on a football field during the weekend, you come into the hospital on Tuesday, you see an orthopedic surgeon, a sports physician, and then me as a sports physio, and we make a plan. What's needed? Do you need an X-ray or an MRI? Do you need just a good instruction for your physio at home? Do you need surgery? And because I was in CrossFit, people do stupid stuff every now and then, including me, and people get hurt.
Yes.
So we got the CrossFitters into the hospital, and then they, purely from the CrossFitters, they started a shoulder outpatient clinic because there were so many people hurting their shoulders, which caused me to think, why are so many people hurting their shoulders? You get in touch with Kelly Starrett from Mobility Watt at the time. Now it's called the Ready State. So you start doing a specialty course, the CrossFit Mobility course, and from there on, we moved on to different things. So in 2017, I stopped coaching at the box, did a few courses before that. We moved to South Africa, started training in the places there when we could, but that was little, like maybe 1 or 2 sessions a week.
Yeah.
And then we got back into the Netherlands. And like I said, I sold the company, we sold the house, so there was some funds in the bank there, but it was all minuses from there on. We both didn't work. So when we started to run out of money, we flew back home, actually lived with my parents for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I found a job as a physio in a pretty large clinic, like 25 physios there. And I figured, well, they must have figured things out pretty good, but that was more like a general population. So I signed a deal with them. First page of the contract was me supposed to be setting up collaborations with sports teams, sports clubs, like I did before. And if we did that, we would have more athletes coming in, which would be directed to my agenda. So that would be my work. That didn't work out as planned. We had some talks about it, obviously. And eventually, after a year and a half, I decided to not renew my contract because I was seeing, for my liking, too much of a general population and not enough athletes. So I decided to start my second business on my own, and that was at a local track and field club. So we have a 400-meter track, grass in the center for the discus and the javelin throw and stuff like that. And they had a gym, but a proper gym. I mean, squat racks, barbells, weights. Most of the stuff was there. I bought some stuff, but
most of the CrossFit stuff were already inside.
Was already in
gym.
there because they're athletes competing at a high level, and they need that kind of equipment to enhance their skills and make sure their general physical preparedness was there as well.
Yeah.
So I started working there, and that was a new adventure. After about a year, I was still training with one of my former colleagues once a week. I was talking to him, what are you doing? What do you want as a next challenge? And he wasn't completely happy at the place he was working. So he joined me. And I swear I'm honest here. Like on the second day he's working for me, with me, I tell him, Joey's his name. He's a golden dude. Tell him, you know what? We made the decision to move to Norway. You want to buy my company? or you want to continue my company? He said yes, fortunately, but that was like a half-year process of getting him from an employee working as a therapist, which he's been doing for 10 years and he's perfectly fine at, to running a business, which he's never done before. So that took up a lot of time and energy, but it was a very good experience for me to move into that role. And then in that 6-month period, Annette obviously signed her job and we got in touch, and I knew where I was going to. So we rounded that off halfway through June, sold our house, took the kids out of school. Annette was done. She had summer holidays at school. And then because of COVID, we thought we could come here, but things changed a bit. Yeah. So we had some time to kill. We have like a little cabin in Germany, so we went there for a few weeks. And then once we were both fully vaxxed, had a QR code, had some time, we were clear to fly to Norway.
You read some articles about what it was allowed and not allowed to get in the country?
Yeah, like a couple million, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And actually, when we checked in Amsterdam, they said, did you register that you're going to Norway? Otherwise, you can't come in. And I'm like, no, ma'am. Once you're fully vaxxed, and you don't have to. Oh, you know better than me? You're good to go. And I was like, whew, I hope I'm right. Because if I'm not, well, but it was okay. We arrived in Bergen. There's a line at customs where you're fully vaxxed. You show your QR code and your passport, and you're good to go.
Good to go, yeah.
It's literally 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So no quarantine, no testing, no nothing. Not wearing a face mask. So remember, halfway through June, I was still working with a face mask on
Yes.
every day, wearing gloves for every new patient, cleaning my treatment table
Yes.
and all the sporting equipment and stuff like that. Restaurants were closed. Cinema was closed. Annette was teaching through a webcam through her
with her kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was strange.
Yeah.
Or strange.
Because
Different from what it is here. And,
yeah, but it's also changed a lot here lately, and you
Yeah.
also see that everywhere now with you see changes towards COVID. Hopefully, getting better. Yeah.
I hope so. If there's one lesson from the whole COVID situation is that it pays to be healthy before you get it.
Yes, 100%. No. Okay. So then you get to know her. But if we go back to the CrossFit.
Yeah.
And you said that you did some CrossFit with your, like you took what you learned from the CrossFit and you took that into your clinic. What like, if you give us some examples, what typically did you take from that and put in that maybe some physios today that our members go to don't do? What did you do?
So the difference always is when you have a regular physio who helps you get rid of pain or stiffness or aches or anything else, or a physio that knows the sport you're in, is that they prepare you to train at the sport you're in at the level you left off. So knowing something about CrossFit and training CrossFit myself for a couple of years led me to understand those athletes way better and bring them back up to a level where they can join the programming in the box, or if they're competitive athletes, depending on where they are in the season and when they want to compete, like in a strength cycle or a skill cycle or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would put somebody with knee pain on a leg press or a leg extension machine and have them do 3 sets of 25 when they're in pain, always. Yeah. And that's what I was trained to do. I didn't know any better. I'm sorry.
That's what your study showed you. Yeah.
If now somebody shows up with knee pain, I might put them on those machines if that's what they know and they're familiar with and they like. But if they train with free weights and they need to be able to snatch or do a squat clean,
move functional, yeah,
that's what we need to train.
Yeah.
And maybe we need to break it up into smaller steps, but that's what they need to get back to.
Yeah.
And then once they get to the movement, maybe make some adjustments in foot positioning or doing it with a sandbag instead of a barbell or stuff like that. But then you can let them go and they can go to the box, like the where they do Eigentraining or open box.
Yeah.
And they can do their tempo squats or their sets of 3x5 or their cycles there. But it's way easier to give them that responsibility if you can speak the same language.
Yeah.
So if you go to a physio who only treats you while you're laying on a table, but your injury or your problem occurs while you're on your feet moving around functionally doing CrossFit, part of that rehab should be moving around functionally doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
Maybe at a lower weight or lower intensity or lower reps, but you need somebody to guide you in there. And if your physio does not do that right now, then there's a gap where he leaves you off and where you want to go. You need to bridge that gap somehow.
Yeah.
And please remember, rehab is not just about getting back to where you were. It's about setting you up to get better than what you were.
And our sport, or the sport of mainly our members, is kick-ass dad / mom / kick-ass in life.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna have a rubber band with you throughout your whole life, that's maybe not the best best way to go either. No. Let's.
Can I interrupt you on that?
Yeah, of course.
Because, in my opinion, there's a big difference between the sport of CrossFit, which you see at the CrossFit Games and the regionals or the sanctionals, as they're now called.
The competitive CrossFit.
Yeah, where it's about winning, and CrossFit as a training methodology where everyday people go and move.
Yes.
If you're doing CrossFit as a training methodology, the goal is to get fitter than you are now. Today, but in 2 years and in 5 years and in 17 years too.
Yes.
Maybe when age comes into play, right, you decline a bit, but still get fitter, which means not every workout is an opportunity to redline.
Yes.
Not every day you lift maximum weights. It's about skills and keeping those skills.
Yes, and also if you look at getting older, like that is also easy to contribute, because if you look at the trend of who you're with, if you look at 60 to 70, okay, where do everybody else go? They go down, and so if you can just maintain, you're kicking everybody else's ass in fitness.
You sure are, yeah, and that's a vastly important job. I mean, my parents are in their late 60s, so getting close to 70.
Yep.
They have their grandchildren now. And I love seeing them being able to run, ride a bike, play, do rolls, and get on a trampoline, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people that age that just because of lifestyle choices are not able to do that.
No.
And they're missing out. They don't know they're missing out because what they can do and what they think is normal is something they've grown accustomed to over the years. But it's a trend you can influence fastly. Fastly. It's not just your genes, it's what you do, it's what you put in your mouth, it's what you not put in your mouth, it's how you move, how often you move, how you sleep. All that stuff comes into consideration. Yes. And you can really make a big difference if you make choices there which result in behavior that you repeat over a long period of time.
Yeah.
But people often think, well, I can do a lot in one day. I can go on a crash course diet and drink some shake or pills which will get off a few kilos in a week, and it might, go ahead if you want to, but it's not something you can do for a longer period of time. You can't just live on shakes and pills for a year. It's impossible.
And that's also what you said with looking at 1 year, 2 year. That's also for the people listening to this podcast. Like if you're not looking long term, it's not sustainable. If it's not sustainable, then it's not going to work for you, because what is important is, okay, you live 100 years. Yeah. If you train for 80 years, that's 80%. That's what's important. Yeah. So if you only train once this week, that's a lot better than 0 times. Yeah. You should listen to this podcast.
This one, yeah.
No,
but
okay.
I should.
Yeah.
I should.
Let's physio. Why physio? Why didn't you be a doctor? Why didn't you be a teacher? Why did physio interest you as a young Thaddeus?
It didn't actually. So I have a sister. She's about a year older than I am. She became a doctor. Yeah. And I saw what she did, and I'm like, yeah, that's not really my style. So where I'm from, you go to high school from like 12 to 16 or 12 to 18, depending on what level you choose. And when I got the day they called me with the results of my final exam, I was at a university checking out in education whether I liked it or not. There was human movement sciences, and human movement scientists try to invent or research things that enhance human movement, mostly sports. So if you look at speed skating, there's this skate with a flapping mechanism in it. That's one of the inventions of a human movement scientist. It was fun, I thought. I was always into sports and health, and I thought, I want to do that. But within a year, I found out that I was becoming a researcher. So I would wear a white lab coat and then look at bunnies or guinea pigs or humans doing stuff, but I would be in the lab. Yeah. And that was not the foresight I had for like 40, 45 years of work.
Long term was not no.
So I switched during that year to physiotherapy, and I was not the best student in high school. I was not the best student in university, but getting to an education where you would do like an internship and see people in pain, that really lit the flame under my ass. So if somebody showed up and said my shoulder's aching and I didn't know enough to help them properly, man, that would get me in the books pretty rapidly. Yeah. So I'm not one of those students that takes notes on every page and highlights stuff and is in the library 4 afternoons a week. I think I've seen the inside of a library 5 times during a 4-year education. Yeah. But eventually, and I'm very proud of that, I graduated with honor just because the clients or patients motivated me to know more. So the physiotherapy,
learning by doing instead of
well, doing and then learning even more and then doing it again, and that's a cycle that continues even until today. So I did my master's degree and I continuous education in all different stuff.
So your master, what's that called?
It's called a master in manual therapy. So they have that in Norway as well. Manual therapists are the people that used to 20 years ago grab your neck and go pop like that. I do that whenever I have to. but as research catches up with what we thought we knew, turns out it isn't that important.
No.
There are way other things to do that.
Yeah.
So, as I told you, what I did in the clinic evolved, and I think we call it manipulate a neck or a back or a hip or whatever it is once a week on a full agenda. And the rest of my agenda would be
Training.
people doing some tests, when they're on the bench for a shoulder or a back, and then starting training.
Because that's probably new to a lot of people when they listen to this. Like, okay, if you go to a physio, you're going to be on the bench.
Yeah.
You're going to, everything is finished, perfect. My body's healthy again. I can go and do stuff.
Yeah.
And now we're listening and that's like, oh, I have to train to be healthy. I have to move.
Well,
and that's what we've done for 5-6 years now. But it's also fun to listen from another person from another country having the same.
Well, let me put this very clearly. There are some situations where you have a medical condition. If you break a leg, we can't just train around it and have it fixed, right? If you break a leg, you go to a hospital, you get an X-ray. That's the one examination they need to do to see if your bones are broken, and then they put you in a cast for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks. And once you get out, we start training.
Yeah.
But it's not like you get out of the cast and you're done. You're ready to snatch a new PB at 105 kilos. No, it's not going to happen. There's part there, and that's where a physio is very important, I think.
Okay.
So on those medical issues, yes, there is a lot of value to being treated on a treatment table. There's another category of problems where something's just painful.
Yeah.
And nothing's broken or torn apart or stuff like that.
Yeah. But if you go to that area, painful. If you look at our members and we say we have a member that is, or a person listening to the podcast who had some problems with him or her back, shoulders, knees, and the ankles, like everything in the body. If the one thing is finished, it's on to the next.
Yeah.
Like, what is if you generalize, what would you talk about with this person? What would you focus around?
Short answer, and the only right answer is it depends. It depends on the person. It depends on the problems. It depends on what problems occur or come back. It depends. But that person you're just painting a picture of, who has problem after problem after problem, is no different than you and me. We have problem after problem after problem, but they might be minor problems, or we haven't found them yet. And that's the beauty of CrossFit. When you let's say I'm world class at squatting. I'm not, but let's say I am.
Yeah, you are now today.
I am today.
Yeah.
Well, we actually squatted today, wasn't it? Okay. But let's say I'm world class, and if I do 5 reps at 50 kilos, everything is world class. But if we then do 50 reps at 50 kilos, something changes at some point. So bringing that intensity, whether it is in extra volume, more reps, or extra
Higher weight,
or more speed, or sometimes less speed, or a different attribute, so not an overhead squat with a barbell, but with 2 loose kettlebells, it changes what your body does. So intensity always shows the flaws, what is not perfect. The question is, are you motivated to work at those flaws? And pain is one of the best motivators for people to say, hey, I need help because I need this to be gone.
Yeah.
But my hands are just like yours. They're calluses on there and even a little blood blister. If I put my hands on your body, I won't suddenly heal your meat. There's nothing happening to your muscle or your tendon or your bone just because of my touch. But what they will probably allow you is to relax a shoulder that's painful. And when it's relaxed, move through a bigger range of motion. And if we get some extra range of motion, we can train to coordinate in that extra range of motion, so to stabilize something. And if that's more than you could do before you came in, I've helped you.
Yeah.
Now the big question is, how long is that going to last? How long is that extra bit of control and range of motion going to last? Is it going to last for an hour or for a day or for a week? But if it lasts for a day, I want you to train the next day at that end range of motion to get better at it.
Okay, but yeah. So again, moving is something we're looking at.
Yeah.
So staying on the couch and just waiting for the shoulder to get better, is that a good idea?
Go ahead and try.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
So there's different reasons, different we call it a pathomechanism, a mechanism why you could be in pain. if I overdid my shoulder in today's training, resting it for a day or two, or at most a week, will probably ease off some of the pain. But if the next time I go training in a week, I overdo it again, that's a cycle I'm not going to get out of.
No, and that's also what's really important with is a difference between moving and coming into person like PB or get a new PR. And we're at TV Högland now. We talked to Avida. He came in this morning at 6.
Yeah.
And he twitched his back yesterday because he trained maybe a bit too much of the same movements because he did some egen training and stuff. So he got a little tweak in his lower back. But he came in like I can almost not walk. Something is on the side. It's really cool to just come in because a lot of people will never show up. And we scaled down the workout. So he did only body weight. We did only movements that felt good or okay, but nothing that didn't feel okay. And we saw him now a couple of hours. Now the clock is 3 and he trained at 6. And like, whoo! Everything is now perfect, which is not. But the example or the point I'm trying to make is moving is good, but it's all, like you said, it also depends on how you move. And of course, if he tweaked really hard his back, then maybe training the next day is maybe not the best thing.
This experience teaches him 2 things. 1, nothing was out to the side or nothing was out of place. Your spine is built to move and resist immense loads. People are not able to squat 1,000 pounds, 450 kilos, if the spine would be vulnerable or fragile.
No.
It's impossible. They trained for a couple of years to get there, and now it's strong. Your spine is strong as well to your level. So if he tweaked his back, what we know from research and a lot of this is that most of the time nothing serious is going on. Maybe we need to examine to rule out that something serious is happening, but most of the time nothing serious is going on. It's painful, it's stiff, it might hurt. But what he experienced today is, okay, so it's not out, and if I move it, scaled down, not aggravating it, maybe doing some other movements than I used to do, it feels better today. That's a win, right? That's progress.
Yes. Sure.
So let's add more progress to that until he's back to normal and even
better than normal, which is our goal.
Yeah.
Okay, we're getting towards something here. We need to start wrapping things up. CrossFit classes at VerfTet. What are you going to do? When are you starting? What's the plan here?
So I'm starting at the end of August.
Yes.
There's a summer holiday now. Kids need to go to school, Annette needs to go to school, and then I got my hands free to start working as well. I'm going to start off coaching a lot of classes just to get to know all the members and get back into the groove. It's been like 4 years since I last coached regular CrossFit classes. So I need to get back in and adapt to what you guys have here.
Yep.
Learn some more Norwegian maybe. And then, as we talked about, from that point on, we get to see whether my work will be mostly group classes or more oriented to maybe personal training for people who have issues like this. And we even daydreamed a bit about setting up something like a clinic in the box so that we not only can help the members, but people from outside as well. Yes. With problems like this, you know, if they have difficulty moving or don't move at all, to get them going and get on a course to get fitter. It's not about being fit or being the fittest. It's about being fitter long term.
Yes, that's pretty good. But we're gonna, group classes is gonna be main concern in the beginning. You're getting into our OCD and into how we do CrossFit classes, which. Is a bit different, but at least it's very fun for the members also to see someone that comes a bit from another angle than we're used to. We are very fortunate with that, with coaches being different, and that creates a good team. Okay, so we're doing CrossFit, family, and mid-August or end of August then how are we if we look half a year forward, not too much, where are you gonna live? Do you know that? How is where are the kids gonna be?
I hope we're not living under that bridge.
Yes, no. Because right now you're living in a hotel.
Yeah, I'm actually living in a hotel for a couple of weeks. So we're looking for something to rent, to stay for a few months or maybe a year, and then eventually find something to buy. The kids are going to go to the international school in Torvestad.
Yeah.
That's where Annette teaches as well. Sol, the little one, is going to Barnehage in
What
Torvestad
class
as well.
does Annette teach?
She's going to teach second grade, I think.
Second or third? I think it was third. I'm not sure. I think
Third, yeah, maybe you know better than I.
Yeah.
I keep hearing this story. I don't listen. No, but young kids.
Yeah.
And the kids are going to school there, but they're obviously looking for ways to get to know more people, get to know Norway better. So they're definitely into doing some CrossFit Kids classes. Maybe try some other sports as well. I'm fine with that. I'm not pushing them. I found CrossFit at a later age, and it turned out okay, I think. So there's a possibility there. And
they're very active, so they're probably going to like the CrossFit Kids a lot.
You've seen them in the box for half an hour.
Yeah.
They tore down the place. Yeah.
That's amazing.
But I mean, we're very privileged to be in a new country, in a new environment, and getting to make choices that are our choices for 100%. So when you grow up, you usually roll into a community of people that you know because you've been in class with them, or you worked out with them, or you grew up in the same street, stuff like that. None of that's here now.
No.
We don't have to go to family birthdays. There's no family traditions other than our own. And that's a loss, obviously, because I miss my friends and family, or it's impossible for us to be close to them. But we get an opportunity to make a new choice. And what's different here compared to back in the Netherlands is that all three of them are going to be gone during office hours. That opens up an opportunity to work full-time, not run my own business in evening hours and weekends like that. So it opens up an opportunity for more quality time. And we're open to trying new things. Even the girls still remember that from traveling around the world. Things might not be as you used to or you're accustomed to.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're bad.
No.
Just give it a go. Let's get better at speaking Norwegian. Let's get better at getting to know people. Let's get better at making a relationship with them, getting to know them, finding out what's fun for them, what's fun for us, what's good for us. And then, let's roll from there. And if we end up at a place we dislike, it's up to us. It's our fault.
Yes.
We can change it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But half year family-wise, have you looked at any trips? Is it anything?
No, not really. We
No.
didn't go that far. What I can tell you is we hope to find a nice house. We're looking at something, like a bedroom for everybody. So that will mean 4 bedrooms, maybe an extra bedroom for when people want to come over, maybe a yard, some pets. They talked about chickens, dogs. So we'll have to see what
We'll have to see if it gets a farm.
Yeah.
Cows and sheep.
Yeah. We could, but we probably won't.
Probably won't.
No.
Okay, but that's good. People are going to see you at the box.
Yeah. So for the summer period, while we're here in the area, I'll definitely drop in and train with you guys. I think that's the best way to get to know everybody, get to know the coaching team a bit more, get to know the members a bit more, and then we'll just grow into it, ease into it.
Ease into it. That's so nice.
Yeah.
Okay, then we hope everybody enjoyed the podcast.
Yeah.
If you have any questions to Thaddeus, it's he's at the box.
Yeah.
If not, send us a text or email or anything else if it's something you're wondering about. Other than that, we say nice that you listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
And have a
tusen
nice
takk.
day. Ha det!
Ha det!